Hello, my name is Santiago Cisneros. This is my worship project assignment, part two for Authentic Christianity. Um, from my experience in this spiritual project, I made a painting. Um, it's a depiction of the altar at which Abraham was going to sacrifice Isaac, and just a symbol of the covenant that God made with Abraham. My experience in making it was actually very fun. I don't really paint much, and I painted this because of, well, I got the idea of painting it because of someone special to me. She enjoys painting and doing arts and crafts, and so I wanted to see what it was like to do it, and it was actually really fun. I can see why she loves doing it. And it was a great experience for me. Um, Not to mention that I also listened to worship music, and it felt really nice to do something different than what I normally do. When I did this art piece, I thought to myself that we're all human. And sometimes God makes us do things that we don't want to do. And when I drew this, I did it in the perspective or in the view of Abraham. And you can kind of understand and feel just what emotions Abraham felt when he was doing this. It wasn't like he was willingly doing it out of obedience and because he loves God and out of reverence of God and because he fears God as well. It's not just all those other facts, but it's also, we had to realize that he also was dreading that he had to kill his son, or rather yet that he had to sacrifice his son. But he was going to do it nonetheless, and we all know the story. God stopped him from doing it. He was ready to do it. God gave him an almost impossible thing to do, and he was still going to do it. Yet us, he doesn't even ask us the world of us. Just wants us to live out what the Bible says. And we have a hard time doing it. So when I painted this, and also listening to worship music while I was doing this, when I painted this, it made me realize that I don't have it the hardest, and he's not asking me to do something extreme. So why should I refuse? Why should I say no? It's never going to be as hard for me as it was for Abraham. Maybe at one point in my life he will ask for something extreme that I will think is extreme for me. But at this current point in time, no, he hasn't. And we shouldn't have an excuse to not do what he says. In a way, it made me more, how should I say it? It definitely made me reflect on what I'm not doing for the sake of the gospel. And it made me wonder what it's like for everyone else. It's not hard to do what he asks for. And I love him, and I want to do what I can. So I'm really grateful for this experience of being able to paint. And though it's a project, it kind of didn't feel like one because I enjoyed myself doing it. And I think it was something worth doing. That was my reflection on this experience. right? So it's seen from his perspective of going to the altar. Got a few trees right here, some plants or grass, however you want to see it. It was with the intention of it being grass. This is the road or the path that Abraham was taking to get to the altar. The difference between this being dirt, the soil, and this being the path is that I made it darker because normally when you're walking a path, you'll make it deeper with the more people stepping on it and how often you step on it. So that's why I made it darker, whereas soil is really only dark when it's raining. I put clouds up here, made it cloudy because it was just yes, Abraham was doing it willfully, but it was a sad day for Abraham, to say the least. At least I think it was a sad day for him. So that's why I made the cloud gray. Felt like the altar would be made out of stone, so I tried to make it gray. It came out more black than it did gray, but that's why that's there. Obviously the green for the trees, and a mixture of lighter brown and darker brown paint. And that's my painting.